Welcome friends to another r/entitled parents video. My not so entitled parents always told me to never talk to strangers. So if you don't want to be a stranger here, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. That said, our first story of the day is by Pharmachian123, named after my father's mistress. I'm having a really crap day, so I thought I'd at least all give you something to darkly laugh about. When I was born, my mom had a first name in mind that she really wanted. My father said, fine, but I get to choose the middle name. He ended up choosing an extremely exotic middle name that my mother was scratching her head where he even got the idea for in the first place, but she gave it to me as my middle name regardless. She found out years later during the divorce that that was the name of the woman he was screwing with at the time of my birth. Fast forward 14 years, my father was once again married and my stepmother was pregnant with my half-sister. Stepmother chooses the first name, a beautiful name that she loves. My father once again asks to choose the middle name. When my mom found out what the middle name was, she just shook her head. Turns out my father wasn't cheating on my stepmother, but he gave her the middle name of his most serious ex between wives. To this day, as far as I know, neither my half-sister nor my now ex-stepmother know about this. Neither one of them have any relationship with him, so I'm not inclined to stir the pot and tell them. They're both good people and I just don't see the point. As far as my middle name goes, my mother doesn't care. Of course, the first thing I asked her was, do you want me to get rid of it? She said she couldn't care less. It is a beautiful and unique middle name. I still use it as part of my legal name. He doesn't know that I know about any of this, but it's very illustrative of the fact that he's a narcissistic jerk, in my opinion. Yeah, yikes. If you found out that your middle name was given to you by your father's mistress, would that be enough to make you go and actually change your middle name? Like, would it be that off-putting that you just could not accept it anymore? Let me know if you would change your middle name in that situation down in the comments down below. Our next story is by MitchDub626, Money Troubles. So I'm a fourth-generation American. My family immigrated here in the 30s, fleeing World War II, and they did quite well for themselves. My dad was taken around the world for trips with my great-grandparents, and when they passed, they and my grandparents set up a fund for myself, my brothers, and my cousins. By the time I turned 18, there was around $150,000 set aside for me. Well, I went to college early for 1 year, in which time my grandma and scholarships paid for most of my tuition. Should have been well over $100,000 left. This all came to a head on my wedding trip back to Florida. My mom had letters and such from my great-grandparents, including bonds and a lifetime bond that started when I was born and matured when I was 18 and a half. Total value of around 50 grand. So I thought that I would take the rest of my inheritance and use it for a house down payment, etc. Well, I checked the bonds and try to settle them. Balances are empty, bonds have been cashed. I asked my parents about the college fund. It went away as part of the divorce. Dad and stepmoms. I asked how, since they were executors, not owners of the account, and found out that my parents had borrowed against the fund for every cent they could in 2008 when my dad was a realtor during the recession, and my stepmom refused to get any job. Was unemployed for 13 years. I'm less concerned with the college money. The kicker was the lifetime bond. This bond came with a handwritten note from my great-grandpa I barely remember, which was heartfelt and emotional. He wrote me how he was trying to make an effort to help me long after he had passed, and how he hoped for the future of our name in me. I go to close out the bond, federal bond, it's cashed. I called up the treasury and asked for any documentation proving expiration and cashing of bond. They sent me the approval form so I could stare at my dad's loopy cursive signing my name dated while I was away in college. My parents refused to talk anymore about this issue, and I'm left with a choice of suing them. They don't have the money. As an electrician, I make more than both of them now, and being ostracized, or ignoring it and living peacefully, and I'm very tired of ignoring issues. Man, I feel bad for OP because all of that's just taken from them, gone. Honestly, I've never had anything on that scale, but I kind of relate to this because I've had some stuff left for me that I never got to see and was spent. I think the most devastating thing is growing up, OP knows it's there. OP kind of has that idea that, they can rely on this being there. And then when they get there, you find out your own father just stole it all from you and blew it. Just like that, nothing. I don't blame OP for not wanting to go further on this. Me personally, I would at least cut off all contact with them. You're going to literally steal my inheritance and blow it? They don't deserve to be in your life after that. Our next story is by James Sliders. Find out daughter had cancer. A is a full Filipino favoring her mom's features while her half-sister is half white. She has darker skin and doesn't have perfect skin, acne. Many, if you probably don't know, but Filipinos favor white skin and features. As soon as A's sister B was born, she started noticing that her mother was kinder towards B, giving her everything she wants, posting pictures of her, but you can't spot A in a single picture on their mother's Facebook page, but A's in every corner. The part where things were 10,000% clear that their mom did not care about A is when 5 years ago, A was diagnosed with cancer 1 week before her family's scheduled vacation. She wasn't going. Instead of canceling the trip and helping their daughter with appointments, they still went on the vacation, leaving A by herself and didn't even bother to reschedule. Your daughter, young daughter, found out she had cancer, and you think, ooh, vacation? A got married in Vegas 3 years ago, and her mom was upset she wasn't invited. Like she didn't emotionally abuse, gaslight, was downright a colorist, neglectful, and a horrible mother overall. Honestly, if your parents treat you like that growing up, they're lucky if they get any form of contact from you. This is just like the last story. If you're going to treat your kid like some stranger you just happen to let live in your house and do things with your family, treat them like somebody you don't actually really care about, I don't think that's a big surprise that later on in life, they get treated the same way from their kid. Our next story is by Minty Cats. This entitled mother is crazy. I'm a 16-year-old female, and I'm a retail worker at a local convenience store. You need to know that I look very manly, and ever since I cut my hair a bit shorter, people assume I'm transgender. Anyway, here's what happened. I'm just stocking some shelves when I hear a loud, "Ahem," and I turn around. I see this woman around 30 years old without a mask on looking at me. You need to know that there's a lot of customers that don't wear masks, but we don't do anything about it since it's too much of a bother and it takes up a lot of our time to get them to wear one. Luckily, a man that's allowed to escort people out of stores walks through the store every now and then and tells them to wear masks. If they decide not to, they end up getting escorted outside. So this lady looks me up and down and gives me a disgusted look. I say in my amazing customer service voice, "Hello, what can I help you with?" She said, "I can't find the eggs." She said this very annoyed. I say, "I'll help you, please follow me." I lead her to the egg aisle. I say, "Here are the eggs, and I hope you have a great day." I continue my work. About 3 minutes later, the entitled mother has returned. She looks pissed. I say, "Hi again, do you need some more help?" They say, "You don't have the eggs I want." This Karen was raising her voice at me, and I could feel her spit. I say, "I'm sorry for the inconvenience, miss. Could you tell me which brand?" She says, "The green ones." I say, "Which green ones? We sell a variety of brands with green egg cartons." She says, "The vegan ones." I look at her confused, and she says, "The ones with the leaf." She meant the bio eggs that we don't sell since we're only a small store and not some big supermarket. Since I've had difficult customers before that won't take no for an answer, I decided to just go look in the back and tell her they're sold out. I say, "Oh, those, I know which ones you mean. I'll look in the back for you." A smirk appears on her face as I start to make my way to the back. As soon as I turned around, I hear her say to herself, "That's what happens when you hire an it." An it? Did she just call me an it? Like, what the freak is wrong with her? Since I'm on the job, I just ignored it, but still, that's so wrong. I returned with a sad look on my face, ready to tell her they were out of stock. As soon as I enter the aisle, I see that a man and a small child had joined her. The entitled dad was also not wearing a mask. Her son was around 6 years old and looked normal. I said, "I'm sorry, we don't have the eggs you requested in stock anymore. If you come back tomorrow, we might have them then." Tomorrow was a Sunday. We're closed on Sundays. Entitled mother sighs very loudly and says, "You can't do anything right, can you?" I say, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I can't make eggs magically appear." The kid laughs a bit. The entitled mother started to look very, very angry and yanks the kid's arm to get him to shut up, saying, "What even are you?" I'm just standing there dumbfounded by what she just said. I'm used to people asking for my pronouns or gender, but they're polite about it. This woman was shameless. I say, "I'm just a retail worker. I'm sorry, but what did you mean by that?" Still with a customer service voice. She says, "Are you supposed to be a girl?" I say, yes, I am a girl." She says, "I'm not talking about what you want to be." I say, "I'm sorry, but how is this relevant?" Still customer service voice. Even though I wanted to punch her in the face, she says, "It's relevant because you're a bad influence on our son." Entitled Dad says, "Yeah." Then she says, "What if he starts to think that he can become a girl?" I felt like I had to escape the situation. I thought I was about to get assaulted because some woman thought I was a transgender or non-binary person, even though I'm not. I say, "I'm sorry you feel that way. I could get another staff member to help you instead." Still polite. She says, "You better hurry up because I don't have all day." I walk away to notify my colleague and ask him to deal with them, and it's as if God heard my prayers, because I noticed the only person that can smite down the entitled parents. Final Hope, aka the man that escorts people out of the stores when they don't wear masks. I wave at him and ask him to come over. I tell him that there's a man and woman refusing to wear masks, and he asks me to bring them to him. I arrive at the egg aisle. They recognize his uniform and know who he is. The entitled mother goes pale. Final Hope says, "Hi there. May I ask you why you aren't wearing a mask?" The entitled mother says, "I'm vaccinated, so I don't need it." Final Hope says, "I'm sorry, but that's not how it works." Proceeds to explain how vaccination works and why she should wear a mask. She says, "Like I said, I don't need it since I wear glasses and I can't see while wearing a mask." She's talking about condensation. Final Hope says, "If you refuse to wear a mask, I'll have to ask you to leave." She says, "After I'm done with my groceries," yet again spitting on everyone around her. Final Hope says, "If you're not willing to leave on your own, I'll have to escort you out." She says, "You can't touch me. That's sexual assault." They say that's true. I'm not allowed to touch you, so I'll just have to call the police that can. At this point, entitled dad starts to get worried and asks his wife to just leave. The kid's just hiding behind his dad on the verge of tears. Entitled mother, realizing this isn't going anywhere, just ditches her shopping cart and leaves together with her husband and kid. I follow her together with Final Hope to see her leave the establishment, never to be seen again. Long live Final Hope. This is by far the craziest thing that has ever happened to me. These weirdos don't belong in modern day society. I'm sorry, but even if you are closed-minded about transgender or non-binary people, like how little do you have to care about any other person in the world to look at them in their eyes and say, "What are you?" and referring to them as an it when their back's turned? Like, I get they have their beliefs and they're probably steadfast in them, but man, the bar is so low. And our final story of the day is by Captain Affectionate 1. My dad says I have to listen to him as long as I'm alive. My sister and her husband came to visit us today, and my sister was asking me, female, to visit her in her house because it's been months since we hung out together without my parents. They get nosy and don't let us talk alone. She said, "Let me know if the parents give you trouble, and I'll ask them to let you come." I said something like, "It's okay. I'm 27 now, so I don't need anyone's permission to go anywhere." As soon as she left, my dad started yelling at me and gave an ultimatum saying, "You have no say in anything when you're in my house, no matter how old." I said, "Fine. I'll leave anyway as soon as my divorce goes through." He then started shouting at me like crazy and said no matter how old I get and no matter where I am, he and my mom will have the final say in all my decisions, and started going on about how I'll be an ungrateful, sinful person if I say otherwise. I seriously can't wait to move out. 6 more months and I'll get my divorce and my freedom from parents. I do feel guilty for leaving them all alone in their old age, but I cannot live with them my whole life when they keep making me feel like I'll go mad someday soon. Yeah, I'm sorry, but at 27 years old, you have complete and utter free will. If they're trying to make decisions for you on like where you can go, where you can visit, what you're going to do, honestly, at some point it starts getting into illegal territory. If you're 27 years old and capable, they can't just force you to not go somewhere. I don't know what these parents got floating around in their minds, but they're on a serious power trip. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.